Welcome. In today's soup recipe, I'm going to show you how I use my Instant Pot. Mine actually isn't the Instant Pot brand, but that's what everybody calls them. Mine's a Kasuri. And I bought this one because I have a big family and it can cook a lot of food. I typically use my pressure cooker for soups and for my beans, but I wanted to give you a lot of options. You can cook things on your stovetop or in the crock pot. All of those methods will work for any of the soups that we've been making over these several weeks. And the reason I've given you soups is because they're generally very nourishing, easy to store, and they keep you feeling really full for a lot longer than some other foods. After this final dinner recipe, if you want to head over to the members section, I just have links to tons of my favorite plant-based recipes for feeding my family and myself that you can modify and use as food prep meals or just as individual meals. So a lot of these food prep meals came to me because I would make them to feed my family of 6, but I could also just make them for myself and eat them throughout the week. So this last recipe is a little more involved than the other ones were, and that's because you're gonna make a broth beforehand, let it cool so that your blender doesn't explode when you turn it into a broth in your blender, and then you're gonna put it back into your pressure cooker, add your other soup ingredients, and cook it one final time. So when I make this recipe, I typically will get the broth section going. And when you're chopping the veggies that will go in the broth, you can just use big chunks. It's all gonna blend up anyway, so you don't need to make them all little and precise for your soup. And then while the broth part is cooking, I will go about and do other things, either make other food prep meals, whatever else I want to do for that day. Come back once it's cooled and finish it all out. So this one has a few more steps than just, your dump and go. So I've already done the broth part, and I just wanted to show you from here how we get this done. So these are my big chunks of cauliflower, zucchini, and onion. You can use any kind of plant milk for this broth when it calls for the milk. This time I did unsweetened soy, but you can use almond milk, or you can even use coconut milk, and that will make it really creamy. But keep in mind that coconut milk does have some saturated fat in it, so if you're going for really low fat, you might want to avoid the coconut milk. All right, I'm just gonna do this on gentle. We don't need to cause an explosion. And this has cooled to, it's barely warm. And remember, if you don't have an Instant Pot, it's okay. You can cook this on your stovetop, and the instructions are in your recipe listing. All right, everything's blended and smooth. At this point, you have some decisions to make. You can either clean out what's in your Instant Pot and saute your carrots and onion and garlic together and then add the rest of the ingredients. Or you can just dump it all back in there and put it on soup mode, which is what I do because I'm lazy. Don't judge me if you're a soup purist. Alright, got our broth in there. So I just bought some petite carrots. You could use shredded carrots or the little chipped kind, or buy carrots and chop them yourself. If you're doing this on the stovetop, you're going to want to add your cauliflower and zucchini right at the end. But because I'm doing it in here, I'm just going to put them all in, and my cauliflower and zucchini are going to be extra soft. Stir that all in. All right, now I'm gonna add my seasonings. I love to add some white pepper to this soup. White pepper is kind of my favorite thing to add to soups to give it depth of flavor. I'm gonna put some thyme. And if you have herbs that have been just sitting in your cupboard forever, kind of rubbing them a little bit when you put them in helps release the flavor better. Salt, pepper, and if you love a little more depth of flavor in your soup like me, I put a little Montreal steak seasoning. Never hurts. All right, let's stir that up again. Close this, seal it, seal the little top button. And I'm gonna just put it on soup mode and go about my business. Even if I have to leave it alone for hours, it will just stay warm and wait until I can come back and get to it. All right, here's our final product. I love to top it with my cashew parm, some salt and pepper. It is delicious when you serve it with some cooked up Rhodes rolls that I sprinkle my McCormick seasoning blend on the top before I bake, or a big hunk of French bread.